What is going on YouTube? It's Brendan from Market Makers. That last video we did yesterday got a ton of views. Guys, thank you so much for your support. Please do like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out in the algorithm. Guys, this video is brought to you by our two fantastic sponsors, BITGET for all the cryptos, link in the video description, SimpleFX for equities, commodities, link in the video description, as well as the tutorial on how to use the platform. If you guys want to trade with us, click the join button underneath this video. And the Telegram, if you just want trade signals, is right there in the video description. 11,000 people on our Discord, guys. All this grows within 1 year. Thank you guys so much for your support. A lot of requests, guys, for commodities. Going to add commodities to this video program. I know some of you want to see Ethereum. Some of you want to see some other altcoins. People are requesting the Dow. I can't do it all in one video. I don't think you guys will sit here for an hour-long video, but I will start doing some additional live videos. I'm moving to South Florida later this month, at the end of the month. Once I get set up down there, we'll start incorporating some different stuff so we can do some live TA and things like that, okay? All right, let's go ahead and jump into this. Guys, Bitcoin on the weekly. 200, 233. Down below here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 weeks solid, could not break the 200. We did pump up here above the 200. Almost made it to the 233. Getting rejected here. Bitcoin trading at 22.9. Remember yesterday's video I talked about, what, 24.6 to 25.182? We did get up to 24.287, so within a couple $100 of that target area to look at that resistance, and you're starting to come down some. Now, next week is going to provide a lot of market clarity. The bulk of the earnings for companies will come in next week, guys. The big tech players, your Googles, your Apples, those are all coming in next week. Meta, which is Facebook, but tonight is Snap, and that could be a leading indicator to look at those tech companies, what to expect for next week. So pay attention to that tonight, but really you're going to understand the direction of the market by the end of next week, because also next week is the Fed. The Fed will be raising rates at least 75 basis points. They could surprise us and go to 100 basis points. We shall see. And then the following day on Thursday, that GDP, Q2 GDP print does come out, which I believe will show that we are trading in a recession. So this is a huge week next week, and this is going to be your turning point in the market for either that next leg down in equities, which I do believe is coming. I believe we're in a bear market rally. And if we do get that next leg down, guys, that's the S&P, remember, falling to about 3,500 to hit the weekly 200, 233, or the S&P falling down to about 3,000 for that 45 angle on GAN. And I do believe you would see Bitcoin follow the indexes down, sweeping its low and falling to a lower level. Looking here on the weekly time frame, I see support from GAN at 15. I see support from GAN at 12. As you guys know, I do believe in a capitulation event, we will be sub 10K. Would next week lead to a capitulation event? Could. I don't know. Let's see what happens. This is why we trade, guys. We're always looking at the charts, analyzing the data every single day. Let's jump to the daily. On the daily, yesterday, guys, if you want to understand how Wyckoff works, how fib waves work, watch yesterday's video. Covered that extensively. But what we're doing now on the daily is rolling over, broke out of Wyckoff, have a resistance here from a very, very thick Kumo cloud. I will show you my Ichi settings here at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that, guys. A lot of people are requesting it. But what I see here, I told you, I anticipate this failing, okay? Just looking at the daily, I don't think, even if we hold a cut pattern, I don't think we're going up very high. I think ultimately we're going to end up making a double top type structure and coming back down into our trading range. The key is, can we hold this trading range that we've been established in, or will the catalyst for next week be so negative that we dump out? Reason I say that is look how much thinner this cloud is getting, okay? This is mid-August. Mid-August, the cloud, the resistance is getting weakened, because the longer you can accumulate, the weaker you will make the resistance, okay? And this is the areas where you can do that type of move base and punch through it. And that could be a catalyst for a rally. But I think we have more downside first. I think that big rally is going to come when we hit that weekly 200, 233 on the S&P, on the NASDAQ. Okay, that's what I'm looking at. Bitcoin on the 8-hour, we are still below the 200, 233. Again, just like on the daily, you're trying to make your basing process, going to look out for that double top as you roll back up. Make sure you don't form that double top. But guys, what I want to show you here, quite simply, Volatility, guys, it's a coiled snake in the market. This is a reverse engineered RSI. You get a bottleneck, very similar to Bollinger Bands or Keltner channels, and then you get an expansion when you have a big move, okay? So you have volatility here, compressed, and then we just got a baby expansion. Why is it a baby expansion? Because look at this versus this. So this next week coming up is huge, because if you end up making a double top here and you do fall through and we have negative catalyst next week, negative earnings, super negative GDP report, which puts us into a recession, or any type of negative GDP report puts us into a recession. Depends what Powell says at the press conference. How high does he raise rates? I think the risk for more downside is much higher. Okay. I think I don't know what the ratio would be, but I would say, 70% chance I think we're legging down after next week. Okay, that's just my opinion, but I do think there's a lot of risk for the downside. Now, if the earnings come in strong, if tech reports strong earnings, if they give strong guidance, the market might shrug it off. It shrugged off everything else so far that's negative, so we'll see if the market can shrug it off. But watch for this type of volatility expansion, because if you get that, guys, I think Bitcoin's sweeping that low. That 17,567 low, I think Bitcoin's sweeping that, and this is coming down to one of those other levels, maybe 15K, maybe 12K. It depends on the movements in the market. 4-hour time frame, you can see how thin the support is beneath us. You really want to get this thicker cloud out here. That's July 25th, 26th, 27th. I mean, that's like, with the Fed meeting, the GDP report, earnings coming in. So if you can survive and get to here, at least you'll have some support. Keep in mind, you can fall through any size cloud. However, this is like textbook for where you can break through and fall through, right? You got a wick up here in the Kumo twist area. You punch through in the Kumo twist area. You fall through in the Kumo twist area. Here you came through the meat of the cloud. But in general, the thicker the cloud, the better the support. And you got a lot of weakness on this side here. So watch that you don't do something like this, break your neckline and fall back through, okay? You need to watch that with Bitcoin. Money flow here is negative, crossing the median line below our EMA cloud. So, but that's pretty obvious because Bitcoin made a peak and then it rolled back down. You're trying to get some more bullish momentum. Volume on Bitcoin's been pretty solid, a lot better than it's been on the indexes, but overall, Bitcoin is an asset that's going to track to tech, it's going to track to the Russell, and it's going to track to NASDAQ. So just pay attention to that. Those are the big movers. So I overlaid silver here. Again, lots of requests for commodities. This is a gold chart. I overlaid silver here because I want to show you one thing. I'll get this off the chart. Bouncing up like this off of Wyckoff, okay? Bouncing up and rolling over. This is what happens when you're exiting distribution in textbook Wyckoff. This is gold here in the white candles. You see we just have our down thrust right here, okay? This is what you need to pay attention to. If we do this move where we bounce up just like silver did and then roll over, this is going to lead us to exit our trading range. Guys, look, the commodities, specifically the metals, are going to have a very tough time battling the Fed, increasing the strength of the dollar. I do believe we'll be going down to FI, the 1618 at 1425 on the metals. Let me go ahead and get rid of this silver so we can talk about this a little bit. But I do believe you're going to be able to get gold down here at the 1618, 1425, because what you want to do is when you have a down thrust like this, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little bit better. When you have a down thrust like this, guys, you need to see a sign of strength, okay? Here you have down thrust, you get a sign of strength. You have a down thrust, you get a sign of strength. You need price to come back up after you down thrust. If you just roll over like silver did, this is your 200, 233 on the weekly time frame, you're going to be heading down towards that 1425, okay? Just keep that in mind. It's very important to understand these macro environments, guys, that you're trading in, understand what the Fed's doing, understand what's happening around the world. We're in a global tightening cycle. ECB raised 50 basis points today. People were labeling it as a surprise. Europe, that's their first interest rate raise in 11 years. They had negative interest rates. UK now has 9.4% inflation. America at 9.1%. This is not a growth environment. This is a global tightening. Liquidity will be drying up. These things take time to work into the market, which is why I believe we do have a strong bias for more downside, guys. Let's go ahead and flip over to silver. Silver, as you can see, already lost its 200, 233. This is the move that I'm talking about in Wyckoff. You get a down thrust, You don't want to just get rejected there at a fib and roll over, okay? You need to get a down thrust and a sign of strength, because if you get this type of move, you're falling back down. I showed you guys this in the commodities video as well. This is on the weekly time frame. Silver is now at the $18 level. However, you zoom this in, and this is your pandemic over here, okay? This is your pandemic, and silver got down to that $12 level, actually sub $12 level. You see that? So just be really well aware of that. This is PHI 1618, and this is still a possibility for silver. This price action so far, granted these are weekly candles, is not very bullish, okay? The Fed's going to keep raising rates, strengthening the dollar. Not a good environment for metals. You could easily capitulate here and fall down to a deeper level. I like the metals, just not bullish on them yet. It's too early, guys. Looking at oil, this is a strong downtrend. Commodities traders are pricing in the possibility of a recession, which is the big disconnect with the big banks and a lot of analysts saying things like, well, Goldman, by the way, still has a 30% chance for a recession in a year. We're most likely in that recession right now. So it's hilarious, okay? You watch The Big Short. Just watch that movie, The Big Short, about Michael Burry, not because of the Michael Burry story, but I worked at an investment bank for 13 years. The average person there really is just like in the movie. They're arrogant, they're stupid, they think they know what they're talking about, and they don't. But it's really well portrayed in the movie, okay? So I do think we're already in a recession, and you can see the commodity traders pricing this in. Now, this is a double-edged sword when you're talking about energy plays, because energy is finite right now. We have problems with supply. So yes, if the economy shrinks globally, you use less energy, but we're in summer. Winter is coming, and Europe relies heavily on natural gas, which is why natural gas is still soaring. Oil is struggling. Energy bulls are saying this is going to rebound, and it very likely could, but this is a strong downtrend right now. You did fall below your 200 and 233 on the daily. You did spring back up. I'm not doing anything here. We've been trading in and out of this in the room and in the Telegram, but this is just something I want you guys to see. Energy here, it's in a lot of chop. Oil specifically is in a lot of chop. You may be coming back down to retest your 200, 233 again, but if you flip over to natural gas also fell below its 200 and 230, but look at this, skyrocket, okay? And we got guys in our Discord that ended up trading into this down here, and this has been a fantastic trade for them. So this is something to watch. Again, this is something Europe relies very heavily on, specifically Germany, the world's third largest economy. So this is something, natural gas there's just not enough supply. So demand's outweighing supply. You're going to have these types of price rises. I'm not surprised at all if we can get back on top of Wyckoff here in base, come up, base, roll over, and then make a move up. I would not be surprised to get up towards $10, north of $10 come winter time, okay? In the meantime, this pulls back. Energy is like trading altcoins, guys. You got to be very careful. This pulls back. I might be looking to enter trades as well. Let's go ahead and look at the indexes really quickly, guys. Looking here at the S&P, covered this extensively yesterday with the volume divergence. We have our cloud coming up. You have the S&P just about to hit 4,000, that key psychological number. We do have our cloud just above us. Look at the volume for this rally. Went over this a lot yesterday. The volume divergence on these rallies, they always build tops. I do anticipate this to come back down. Look at this on a smaller time frame. Go ahead and pull this out here on the there we go, 4 hours better. So 4 hour, I went ahead and threw a pitchfork on here so you could see this. Pitchfork on the 4 hour, we are above our long-term moving averages. We have all these retracement levels above us, but that one fib is right there at 4,028. Would not be surprised if we can get up to that one fib. And I do anticipate, unless we have a really bullish catalyst next week, which the end of the week is not going to be bullish at all, but if the earnings start coming out and they're bullish, you could see some movement here, guys. So we'll see what happens. But tracking the S&P, it is the broader market. Looking at NASDAQ on the daily, already entering our Kumo cloud, guys, pumping up to 1414 at 12,674. This could come up to the 1618 at 12,850 up here, but just like everything, I mean, look at the volume. This is on your daily. Look at the volume. It's extremely low. Money flow is pretty flat. You're getting some divergence here with the money flow. So again, this is something I anticipate to turn around a bear market rally. And let's look at the, let's go ahead and jump forward to the Russell. Russell went ahead and threw this in a pitchfork as well. You're right at the top of that pitchfork on the Russell. You're just about at 1830. And so we'll see if the Russell ends up breaking up out of this pitchfork. And you can see this as well. What I do is on the 8 hour. The 8 hour, you have your 1830 here at your 1 fib, right? So we talked about yesterday, I have the Russell going to 1830. So this is an area you have to watch very closely. If the Russell can break this, flip this as support, then the Russell has more room to run up. However, if I look at my money flow here on the 8 hour, I'm getting some divergence here. So, we'll see where this goes. Elders Force were flat. This is largely retail rallies, guys. And again, I say that over and over again because I'm looking at the volume on these indexes and it's low. It's just look at the big volume. This is when institutions are in here. We still have record amounts of retail in here. There's a FOMO effect. A lot of these stocks are severely beaten up, 70, 80% down, stocks like Coinbase, and they're popping. People are buying. They don't want to miss out on the next big rally. People remember the pandemic crash. They get all juiced up and they want to get involved in the stock market, right? So let's look at stocks 50 here in Europe. Here on the 4-hour time frame, guys, just like tracking very closely with the American indexes, got above your 200 and 233, but you're printing a pretty clear double top here. So we'll see what ends up happening here at resistance. Again, the ECB did raise rates today. So we'll see what happens if this ends up rolling over into a double top formation. Lots of action to pay attention to. Money flow here on stocks 50 is below the EMA cloud, and you are bearish in trend. So you're building up some divergence here as well. Lots of things to watch, guys. I will keep you updated as best I can. Let me go ahead and show you my cloud as well. Show you my Ichi. And then we'll wrap this video up. Thank you for those of you that stayed long enough to see this. And let's go ahead and look at this. So first thing you need to do, guys, is go to indicators. Type in Ichi DW. Ichi DW, you get Ito Heiken Ichimoku. This is Donovan Wall, excellent programmer. You can download that indicator, okay? Now, when you open this up, Ichi has a lot of settings, so you can pause this video and look at the settings. Filter type, I use volume weighted, okay, for my filter type. These other things don't matter because I don't personally use them. This is I can't explain the whole Ichi because this is literally a video series, but just these are the moving average, your TK and your Kiju, but I'll show you where I turn these off. I filter out Chiku. I don't change any of this. There's a lot of settings here you can change on Donovan's, okay? I don't change any of this, but I turn a lot of things off. If you go to style, my TK, my moving average turned off. Kiju, moving average turned off. Your spans or your outlines to your cloud, you can change the colors. I do leave these here, obviously, because I want to use the clouds. Your Chiku, I turn off. That's a lagging span. Bar color is the actual colors here on your bars. I don't like that. I turn that off. And then you have your Kijun fill. So my Kumo is the only thing I have turned on here as well. And this is the color of your clouds, okay? Everything else is either turned off or not used. So I use very simple settings. I just want to use the clouds. I don't want moving averages. I don't want a lagging span. So that's my settings, guys. So everybody's been asking me for that. This is really the filter type. You can see you can choose a bunch of different filter types, but this is just something that I do. You guys can play with it, see what settings you like. I don't recommend using crypto settings. I use the indicator the way it was designed by the person that designed it, and it's been working out very well. I find it to be very accurate, as many of you probably find it too from watching this channel. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Another video coming tomorrow. Talk to you guys soon.